It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. Ha! Feedback Friday, low energy. You probably saw it. Low energy Feedback Friday. Because I've been recording for an hour and a bit, and hopefully I will get a useful recording this time. And yes, I am recording in another part of my very nerdy house. I keep trying to find a permanent home for my desktop PC that doesn't cause some sort of problem. Still working on it. Hopefully, I've ordered a desk, and hopefully we'll have a permanent home very soon. Very soon. Right off the top of Feedback Friday, I have to make a correction. I did a bad in a video I did this week. I referred to the country of Ukraine as the Ukraine. I always get that mixed up, and I know that is offensive to some people. No offense intended. I apologize. It was wrong. It was just wrong. So hopefully it'll stick this time, because I got embarrassed by that. What was going on with my hair? But yeah, I'll try to get that right. It is such a reaction, but I'll get it right eventually. I apologize sincerely. Tea break. Part of the reason I look so blah right now is because I was at X16 today, which is a lot of fun. I like those pre-holiday showcases. I wish there were more of them. It's only the console makers up here that do them. It's not the publishers, and I wish there were more publishers that did it, because it's a really cool way for local people to get their hands on the games, and it's a good way for me to go and get to play the demos a second time, or get some of the demos that I didn't get to play the first time around at E3, because there's a lot more, much larger lines at E3. So it was cool. I got my hands on We Happy Few this time around, and hopefully I'll have a video for you guys. I will get that out as fast as I can. I've got some Dead Rising gameplay as well. Hopefully it's already out. The rest of this Feedback Friday may be a bit of a bummer. So I'm putting out something else as well for people who are interested, because I don't even want to be talking about what I feel I now have to address. And I'm going to do the short version here, because not only do I respect your guys' time, but I also, I don't want to go through it. I don't want to be in this headspace anymore. And so people are like, what are you talking about? And you'll notice I'm wearing the shirt of calming for people who wonder why I am lacking clothes. It's because we sort of have this tradition here that gets me into some sort of trouble, and I stopped doing it for a while because I got made fun of and mocked and slut-shamed and all this stuff. And based on some of the stuff that I will get to, I've decided to bring it back. Why? Because it's fun. And because it's a way of making me feel less weird about having body parts that some people want to look at. I think it makes other people feel less weird about looking at those body parts. Like, guys, the people who write comments going, oh my god, I looked at your cleavage, is that okay? If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known. Like, I've lived with these things all my life. They obstruct my own view of my feet. Okay? So if you get joy out of them and you can still behave like a respectful human being, awesome. I am not one of these people like, you know, if I wasn't prepared for people to traverse the Grand Canyon, so to speak, I'd wear something different. And after the events of this week, I've just sort of decided that people are going to complain about me no matter what, and there is only so much I can do about this, because it's ridiculous. And What am I talking about? For people who don't know, there was a data dump, and I've made some notes because this is dicey, and you guys know me. My reaction to these things tends to be to crack jokes. Now, if you want the full breakdown, I've like presented screenshots and things like that, so you can see all that. I will put it up on leannakirsner.com for anybody who is interested. I cannot go through this anymore. And I can't go through it because if I use humor as a way to make this fun instead of suck, I get in a fresh round of trouble because of the dynamic that has led me to have to talk about this in the first place. And that rips me up because I take a lot of pride in my resiliency. And I take a lot of pride in my ability to go, you know what? I don't like this. So we can deal with it and either make it better or explain why it can't be made better and figure out what we're going to do about that. But also, I take pride in my ability to sort of laugh off things that would really bother other people. And that is not something I was born with. That is something I developed quite consciously because it took me a long time, but I finally realized, at least for me, that having a happy outlook, there's a level of conscious choice to it. It's what you choose to focus on. I mean, the reason I have like Superman and Martian Manhunter and then like classic Battlestar Galactica. I know a couple dudes in Germany are going to freaking love that. I don't think I sent it to you guys before. But yeah, classic Battlestar, awesome, sweet. But the reason I surround myself with this stuff is it makes me happy. And instead of, just creating a home that's a snapshot from a designer magazine, I want to make it what I like. And so I've got my range of colors in the paint job. And then, the nerdy stuff, because there's pretty much no angle of my house where I can't see something that is not just something that brings me joy, was actively created to give young people joy. And I think that's super important. And the whole idea of doing things just because they're fun or just because they're enjoyable is, I think that's precious. And too many people are so fixated on being validated for some sort of serious work that they forget that sometimes the most serious thing you can do, the most important, affirming thing you can do, is to lift somebody out of a hard time. And so this is why I've chosen to approach it this way. And I apologize if there's some people who want to talk about this, and I just say, no, I want to do this once and be done with it. Some people have already talked to me about it. A lot of people. And I'm not taking swipes at anybody. Please don't take anything I say personally here. I know people had good intentions, whether it was to make me aware of things, whether it was to make themselves feel better about the things they were called. That's completely legitimate too, right? Like, I want to be very clear. If you got to do things, what is with this hair? To, make it better for yourself, you do that. Because no one deserves to make you feel bad for a prolonged period of time. So what's going on? I'm being very vague because it's still in my mind. I'm like imagining playing like fun games and the things I got to do today, but I'm really tired accordingly. I only got 2 hours sleep last night because I admit this morning was not fun. Last night and this morning were not fun because this dump of chat logs became public yesterday. And full disclosure, I had some advance notice about the existence of them. I had seen a couple of, how do I even put it? Like little tiny snippets of it, because I was warned, you're in these things. And I'm telling you guys this because I don't want, these things are breeding grounds for conspiracies. So I'm telling you everything I know. I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I don't even know names, right? I don't know the most of the accounts that are involved in this thing. They're Twitter people I talk to because they're gamers and they watch my content. That's it. So I can't even confirm who they are. But it's different knowing something is on the horizon and actually experiencing this, sudden explosion in Twitter and seeing people react to it and not being able to respond myself because I know I'm being watched. You are being watched. I love Person of Interest. I do. I love Mr. Finch. But see, I'm pushing away from it because this is not great. Because without that ability to laugh at it, what I'm left with is a bunch of people. Some, it's very obvious who they are. Some, it is a reasonable degree of certainty who they are. Some people, I have no idea who they are. And I've been unable to find out for certain who these people are. But it wasn't very pretty. It was from 2014, which is one of the things that makes me very hesitant about this. Come on, Momo. There's Momo. Yeah. Say hi to the people, Momo. Momo. At least you got a bit of cute. Oh, wow. The screen's so bright that Momo's glowing. Right, Momo? Yeah, okay. Cool. They are from December of 2014, I believe. I don't know if there are other dates involved. That's the one I'm aware of. And they are connected to, the Gamergate controversy was full swing in that time. And the most, I'll say, active participants on both extremes of that controversy, I'll come right and say, hate my guts. They hate my guts, and that's fine. There's nothing nefarious about people hating my guts. But there were, and just to put this in perspective, these logs are far from the worst logs of this type I have seen. To put this in perspective, because we're going to get into some pretty nasty stuff, there was another group trying to get me to kill myself back in the day. And somehow that annoyed me less because it was just petty and they had little... It's egregious, don't get me wrong. It's sick that anybody would try to do something like that, and I shouldn't brush it off because other people who are more vulnerable might actually have been harmed by activity like that. So I'm not being deliberately glib. I'm just saying for me there was less impact because either they get me to off myself or they didn't. Failure. This stuff's more insidious. And so I admit it's because I can't joke about it. It's gotten under my skin a little. I admit, because I have no idea how far any of this goes, what the actual damage done was. So all I can really do is, now knowing what's actually in them and what's available to the public, I want to address some of the things that were in this. And like I said, this is much greater detail. And I'm hoping that if any editors or publishers or even just gamers who have a negative view of me because of some of the things these people have said, because they are quite well regarded in some circles, notably the social justice circles. I hope that you reassess your opinion of me. And because Momo's adorable, right? There I go joking again. Joking's what got me into this trouble in the first place. That's not entirely true. Being at the wrong place at the wrong time and trying to do my job as a person working as a games journalist. I hate calling myself a games journalist because I don't feel like the bulk of what I do is actually journalism. It's analysis. I'm not going out there and collecting quotes from people. I'm doing essentially close reads of games, but you know, I have done that. In this particular case, that was my role. I wear a lot of hats. Oh, there goes Momo. All right, he didn't pull the headphone out of my ear. But one reason or another, I just want to blow through this relatively quickly because I don't want to make this video super long. But I just want to be clear before we begin. I don't want anybody going to war over this. Don't contact people involved, especially not negatively. I just want to say don't. Just don't. I'm going to outline some things that in a perfect world I would like, but stay out of it, please. This is for information purposes only. I do not want any more people getting hurt or getting accused of things like harassment over this. I didn't like it when it was first happening. I don't like the idea of it now. This is just to set the record straight and make it clear what I think is important, what I don't think is important, what is true, what is not true. And I'm putting the bulk of it in text because I feel like if people are going to take the time to read something, they're going to come at it from a more prosaic point of view and be less OMG call to arms YouTubes, right? Because I really don't like drama. And the other thing I don't like is I don't like hashing through people's private conversations. And if there wasn't some serious stuff in there, I wouldn't have even touched it. I would have just said, people are allowed to not like me and people are allowed to trash me in the privacy of their own conversations, and that is none of my business. They despise me. I know. I knew this before. This was not news. I was surprised at how many. Like, oh wow, just complete checkmark. Okay. And one person has apologized. Ian Miles Chong did apologize for me, and I believe he was sincere, and that was really tough to do. I appreciated it. It's amazing how much it matters when even one person involved in something like this says what we did to you was wrong. And that sort of framed my thinking about it going forward. And I know I'm being very cryptic, but I want to do all these caveats because I know there's this thing right now where people are held responsible for the conduct of their followers. And so I want to be very, very careful that I don't have an unintended effect. I know there's going to be discussion about this. If you choose to discuss this, please do not @reply. Please do not include people's usernames and things. Like, just... people are people, and people need the ability to vent. I get this. I mean, on both sides. I'm telling you guys, you absolutely have the ability to vent, which is why I leave comments on for my videos. But I can't have one standard here and then another standard for people who don't like me. Because there's some people here who don't even like me. I don't even know why some of you guys watch. You dislike everything I do, but that's fine. That's your right. So let's try to whip through this really fast. And if you want more details about this stuff, go to my website, leannacurzon.com. I'll put a link in there. So there were accusations that I was somehow making light of doxing, or essentially that I was condoning doxing in some way, which is ridiculous. I think that's really clear. My very discomfort with data dumps like this. Now, as far as I understand, no personal information, like outside of identities, has been included in this. So that's good. But I don't think that there is any reason to put people's full legal name, address, other identifying information that they have not disclosed themselves. I don't think there's any good reason for putting that on the internet. It doesn't disprove the substance of their argument. It's just to scare or intimidate people. So, very simple. I was accused of being more interested in driving my personal vendettas than any principled activity. I get into this in detail on the website. It's boring, but there's no need to get in here. I was accused of being a secret hardline GGer, and I'm gonna joke. If you're talking about my bra size, then yeah, okay, hardline GGer right here. GG cup. True. Accurate. I don't think that's what they meant. I think that the idea that I was willing to do my job as a news gatherer at the time and actually speak to people on both sides of the conflict had me labeled within the anti-Gamergate camp as a hardline Gamergater. I was labeled in the Gamergate camp as a secret SJW shill. So I think the fact that people on both sides continue to trash me to this day is at least a strong implication that I belong to neither camp. I was also accused of creating anti-Anita Sarkeesian content, like her as a person. And I object to this exceptionally strongly. I do not create content that is against Anita Sarkeesian as a person. I don't know Anita Sarkeesian as a person. My issue is exclusively with her theories. I've said this time and time again. I am going to state this for the record. I see any attempt to claim that there is anything personal, at least on my end, against Anita Sarkeesian, you know, anybody who works for Feminist Frequency, a personal beef on my end does not exist. I see it as the side effect of there not being very many prominent female commentators in gaming. And so when two of them disagree, people tend to personalize it. And this is just creating drama between two women with strong opinions about games. I disagree strongly. I disagree strongly with Anita Sarkeesian's viewpoint. I do. It's clear. Like, if you guys look at my work and you look at that work, I've made sort of little jokes going, yeah, if you feel this way, you'll probably like something else better. But this is not personal any more than a comedian making a joke about a politician on a late night talk show is personal, meaning not at all. It's not. It's strictly about ideas. And as much as I disagree with the Feminist Frequency viewpoint, I maintain that Anita Sarkeesian has the right to hold her views. And I am confident enough, if the process is conducted fairly and the marketplace of ideas functions, then the best ideas will come through at the end of the day. They don't have to be mine, because we're all still muddling through understanding this stuff. We don't have enough science. We don't have enough studies. We're predicting and inferring a lot of this stuff, and we're still waiting. we have to put these theories out in order for them to be tested so that we can develop better theories. And that's just the way this kind of work works. It's slow and it's ponderous and you screw up a lot. But if you don't state, here's what I think, so people can agree or disagree substantively. And this is what drives me crazy, is people go, I disagree, and don't say what about. They'll either swear at me or just say, I disagree, but it's a good try, or good production values, or you look hot, or something like that. I really wish more people would get better at constructive feedback, because I don't expect people to agree 100%. Like, I know I've seen things, and like, for instance, somebody linked me to a Time article, and the first 4 paragraphs, it was a couple days ago, the first 4 paragraphs were really good. But then it started going into, I could not follow when I said, you know, these 4 paragraphs were really dynamite, and then it went a place I could not follow, and I had to stop reading. And they went, yeah, that part was, and done. But, I mean, those 4 paragraphs I found still useful, right? Made me think, all right, challenged me. That's the role of opinion writing, right? So I hate the fact that in the current gaming landscape, you can't have an intellectual or professional disagreement with someone without people interpreting it as being personal. Now, to a certain extent, one in particular person connected to Feminist Frequency did get personal, but we're getting to that. There was the accusation that I told Zoe Quinn that the harassment against her was all her fault and she should shut up and go away in response to abuse. I most certainly did not tell Zoe Quinn that everything was all her fault. I went back because I don't think that comment was made out of nothing. There was something about the phrase, I don't know, something about this is like, this has a root somewhere, and I need to find it, because and it comes down to one tweet where I told her, because I was getting pulled into the drama, and there's more detail about this on the website, but I was getting pulled in, I didn't appreciate it, and lies were being spread about me. And I told her, you are helping to spread these lies. Stop. And she said something, I don't know what it was, because all her tweets disappeared when she blocked me, but my comment was, then if you can't stop spreading lies, stop saying anything unless you can stop hurting innocents. That is what I said. And I can see how through a certain prism it could warp into that, but that's the only thing. And if this is ironic, because I just thought, if asking people to stop doing things that are damaging to my reputation is somehow bad, well, color me the devil, but that is actually what they did. They called me the devil multiple times. The devil. The devil. That's actually a slur against redheads, but we're not going to get into the cultural ramifications of that particular insult. That's the way that particular group of people plays. I am not going to stoop to that level. I am going to assume that they were just talking about me. Not all redheaded people who historically have had really serious issues with superstitions about our which patron saints we subscribe to. I think they were just talking about me. It was personal dislike. It was not a dislike of gingers, because who could dislike gingers? We're awesome. There was an accusation that I asked for someone to take out references to the anti-Semitic stuff that Gamergate says. That is not what I said. I asked this person to not refer to particularly anti-Semitic treatment that I received for a period of about 72 hours ish. And I did that for reasons. Like, specifically my story, because I was told and like walked through, like, there are third party trolls causing trouble. These are not people who are known participants in the the consumer revolt, because there were a lot of different factions in the whole Gamergate controversy, and so a lot of different groups that they were crossover but they didn't quite stand for the same things got lumped in together, and it still hasn't been straightened out that way. But the consumer revolt types were saying, this isn't us. We don't even know who these people are. They appeared, and of course you look at their accounts and they don't have that many followers, and the account hasn't been around very long, and it's an egg and all that stuff. And so I asked them to please leave this out of the examination of Gamergate, because one, I'm not sure they did it, and two, it stopped. And I just wanted it to stop. And it is my right to ask that it not be discussed further so it doesn't start up again. That's what I meant. And I maintain that that is totally fair. There's a bunch of accusations about racism, transphobia, that I don't take misogyny seriously, that I, called people. More details are on the website, but obviously, no, I disagree with these assertions. You guys have been following me long enough. I think you've made up your minds about me in that regard, but don't forget, again, these conversations are from 2014. So hopefully these people have changed their minds about me in that regard. One person who was leading the charge against me on the transphobic front said that they don't actually think that I'm transphobic, that a comment I made was transphobic. And I don't understand this particular thinking, because this was after 6 bloody months of people going transphobe, 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 trying to put me on all these lists for transphobia. And then, oh, I don't think you're transphobic. Your comment was transphobic. And I still don't understand. I can understand learning, like the thing off the top with Ukraine. I hope I got that right. Ukraine, right? No, the Ukraine, right? But that was not intended to offend. It was just, I don't know the word to call something. And if you think a person has no hateful intent, I do not understand the urge to call them a dirty name that's going to get them labeled. I don't get that process. I will never understand that process. I know how it makes the person unable to listen to what you're trying to explain to them, because they're too busy freaking out, trying to explain, trying to describe why they're being told they did a horrible thing. Because most people know misogyny is bad. They know transphobia is bad. They know racism is bad. So when you tell them they have done something bad, it causes an emotional reaction that makes it harder, instead of just saying, look, you probably don't know this, but this is a sensitivity. It's a much more productive way of going about it, but that conversation could not be had because they'd rather trash me in a secret chat group. And we'll get to why this completely makes sense in a bit. Because this is where we come to one of the more serious things where I'm like, okay, I now do have to address this, because this is starting to get serious. One was an assertion by someone. Well, first of all, they were saying that they hope my career was ruined. And then someone who allegedly is Zoe Quinn herself said that she talked to former editors of mine. Interesting that she said former, because I, in 2014, was mostly freelance. I wasn't an employee, so I guess they decided I was performer. I didn't know. Oh boy, awkward. But this is, if true, and it could just be talk, but if true, this is evidence of direct interference in my ability to earn a living, and that is exceptionally serious. There's no getting around that. And allegedly, no proof it actually happened. I will probably never have proof it actually happened, because people who do this sort of back channel thing deny it to the hilt. But it's profoundly unfortunate that that was there. The next thing, and it's a little bit clearer that this person is actually Catherine Cross from Feminist Frequency. But here's where things get real. Quote, I get frustrated with her, meaning me, because it's women like her who very, very deliberately make things harder for other women by trying to be the cool kid who acts like the sexism she's immersed in is no big deal. I'm going to do Mountain Monday breathing. Breathe in. And out. I'm only going to do one, so I'm trying to keep the time down on this. But women like me. Women like me. What does that mean? That sounds like a pretty insidious dog whistle to me. That means something to the in-group that means something different to the out-group. And I'll tell you how I took it. Slut, whore, tramp. That kind of woman like me. That's how I interpreted that. No, it may mean something different. But it's precisely that usage of women like her. No. Every woman is an individual, and we don't type women into women like her and women unlike her. Us versus them. We don't do the verses. We don't do oppositional thinking. Calm. Second part. Very, very deliberately make things harder for other women. No one in that chat knew me well enough to know whether I did something deliberately. Absolutely categorically impossible for them to know what my intentions were. It's a nasty, malicious assumption. And I think we can leave that there. But then this idea that I act like the sexism I'm immersed in is no big deal. I have been talking about the issue of women in video games in one form or another since 2012. If I didn't think that it was a big deal, I wouldn't continue to talk about it. But here's what matters to me. The slut shaming, the body shaming, the exclusion of women like me, or any woman for that matter. The entire point, the precise issue I have with, the ideological issue I have with Feminist Frequency is that they get into this oppositional thing of there are types of women instead of women as individuals. This idea that, women like me are somehow here, and there's another type of women who are up here. What the hell does that mean? Like, that is so counter to individualism and any sort of equality of opportunity. Women like me. And yeah, that's offensive, because what I said, it's not even offensive. It's like, ow. Like what? I'm a cornflake girl hanging with the raisin girls? I don't get to be a plastic because I didn't wear pink on Wednesday? Like, what is this cliquey garbage? And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. I have a long track record. Before Anita Sarkeesian even started talking about gaming, I was writing about women in gaming. This isn't feminism. This is mean girling. You shouldn't have to be the right kind of woman to be welcome in the video game community. I do videos. I work my butt off. It takes me weeks to do one. To attempt to like actually educate and inform gamers about things like objectification, male gaze theory, gender performativity theory, cultivation theory, these things, because I believe it's important. But I believe in picking my battles, and I believe in sticking to what we know is an actual issue and what we can actually prove. Trends we can observe, things we don't have to infer in. You know, instead of worrying about whether an included type of female character is good or bad, I am more concerned with the fact that there are types of characters that are excluded. They're disappearing. And they happen to be women who look, in terms of body type, like me. Because boobs equals slut. And even if that's so, who cares? Women... It's so weird because on the one hand, this camp says you shouldn't slut shame. On the other, they say women like her. I'm not even going to attempt to follow this. I just know that because of this women like her being assumed to make things more difficult for all women, women like me are not getting our stories told, and we're not being allowed to tell our stories. We're being told what are appropriate states of womanhood to present to the masses because of some sort of moral hygiene. And that's just so counter to any phase of the feminist movement. I mean, God, is it Robin Morgan that said, we're the women you were warned about? Feminism's defined by bad girls, the ones that defy modesty, that defy sit down, shut up, and do what you're told. It's, well-behaved women seldom make history. We can go on and on and on and on about the feminist tradition of both subversive writing and subversive performance and outright civil disobedience. We can't just throw it away because it makes some people uncomfortable to be compared to a woman with a different body type, because this is precisely the problem. Like, it should not be one body type of woman good, the other type of body type bad. No. And the problem is it's like one type or another. Right now it's, brown hair, Miss Ponytail. Before it was brown hair, Miss Ponytail with cone boobs. It doesn't matter. The point is that somebody was deciding we were going to have one type of woman represented at any one time because that's what the market wants. And if you actually talk to men, like, men have this really diverse set of preferences. There's no one physical type it's going to appeal to everybody. That's just a stupid stereotype. And I could rant on like this forever, but I think I better wrap up because I'm trying to keep this short and it's still 43 bloody minutes long. So, to summarize, here's the three things. Here's what I don't care about. I don't care that they called me the devil. I know a lot of people are making fun of it, but don't be offended if I don't join in. I don't think it's especially relevant. They can call me what they want. They have the right to not like me. I obviously disagree. I think I'm quite likable, but they have that right. They have the right to call me names in what they think is a private conversation. They do. That opinion should not cross over into actual action, them trying to blacklist me or defame me in any way. And there's smoke, but there's no fire right now. It's just a claim. Who knows if it happened? But considering the person who said it is allegedly Zoe Quinn, and Zoe Quinn is the head of the Crash Override Network, which is an anti-online harassment organization, this is serious. And I'm not going to say, shut it down. No, I'm not like that. Been going on for weeks about, wow, did I position myself for this one unintentionally? I've been saying, no, you fix things. You don't shut them down. You fix them. But it would be great if there was some sort of official apology from the organization as well as from the individuals. Now, this isn't the sort of apology that the person is forced to accept, but it's a good first step. And I think that it's very important that this organization comes clean about the harassment that was at least mulled over under a conversation connected to them and their members. Then, of course, the next thing that I think is really important is that women like her comment. And we really do have to discuss comments like this because they fly out of people's mouths, men and women alike, far too quickly. And we don't think about what that's actually doing. We're nerds. Everybody who ever gets angry about anything that happens in a video game, congratulations, you're a nerd. To the popular kids, none of this matters. None of it matters. And it matters intensely to us. And it's so ridiculous, this idea that I carry on like the cool kid. No, nerd and proud. I am not cool. I am not cool. I am so uncool. I like boomerang around and sort of come out the other side and become this weird sort of cool uncool because I am not cool. I had Dungeons and Dragons manuals in the back of a shot, didn't even notice it until some of y'all pointed it out. But that's me. And I'm not going to deny my past. I'm not going to claim I was super popular. I'm clearly not very popular right now. Wow. And I don't act like the cool kid. I'm someone who's trying very, very hard to keep a cool head when I hear day after day after day after day, we don't want you here. Because I know that if I'm being told or getting the message, we don't want you here, then other people from many different walks of life are getting the same message. And I think I can do something about that. I think that video games have given me too much to not try to find a roadmap for other people to emulate and hold their heads up high when other people are talking smack about them and making them feel unwanted and giving them a roadmap. If they can say that, but this is mine too. I belong here too. You may think I'm not like you, but that doesn't matter. This is a discussion about inclusion. And that means we all get a turn. We're back to those old console days. Give your sister a turn. We're back to that. Give that slut bitch hoe bag a turn. Yeah, I'm still a person, right? I don't care what you think about my personal morality. That is not for you to say. And I don't know what more I can say about that. There's more. I said it more, I think, eloquently in the written part, but I'm going just now. Again, it would be nice if an apology was issued here. Just saying. The thing I do think has to go is this block list because it's been implicated now in this group. The creator of this block list that has been implemented by Twitter. There is evidence now that this is politically motivated marginalization, and I don't think that... I think this violates Twitter's free speech mandate, first of all, and also its rules against harassment and intimidation. This is just my opinion. I can't make it stick. I'm just saying. I would love it if you guys read, but I'll just read to close. I'll read the paragraph I included about female bullying. Okay. Female children who bully. This is from Dr. Cheryl de la Sega. Female children who bully often grow into adult women who bully. What happens as female bullies get older is they become more sophisticated and subtle in the way they target others. Many times the in-group or cool clique support targeting. This aggressive behavior frightens its members, both girls and women, and I'll add men in this case because that was confirmed to me as a motivation. Some people went along with it, to go along in order to get along. Further, when women bully, they can elevate their own feelings by diminishing those of others as they gossip, discount, reject, demean, demean and exclude the focus of their enmity. These behaviors sabotage any opportunity for direct, honest, and healthy friendship. I don't think I can find better words to describe what those logs display. I don't. And I'm not saying that I've said especially kind things about the people involved in this, okay? I'm not claiming that. They don't like them. They haven't been very nice to me. I'm documented on record. But I told them what my issue was to their face. I said, I don't like you lying about me. I don't like you condescending to me. I don't like you calling me these. I don't like you making these accusations. I told them what I was telling other people. Now, I'm not trying to take the moral high ground here. I'm just, first of all, I'm saying that, yeah, I haven't been a saint in all this. I'm the devil. I get to not be a saint. No, I'm kidding. But I don't think, I hope, oh God, please don't make this another round of people screaming at each other. This will only benefit bad actors. It always has. It always will. When people lose their crap, you are more easily led around by the nose. And so what I'd love if everybody did, and I know this video is 15 minutes long and you're probably still not watching, but slow down, take a breath, use this to build bridges. Instead of just going on and saying more nasty stuff about people, take the win. Bury some of those hurts about the things people said about you. You don't have to internalize them anymore. Because everybody didn't behave very well. Or nobody behaved very well. I won't say, everybody was horrible. But we can all say everybody knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody that didn't behave very well. And there was so much going on that we couldn't possibly speak up, say all of it was wrong. Stuff slipped through. Right? I mean, this is 2014. And the problem is we're seeing it now. So to our brains, it seems fresh. But we have to keep in mind that these are 1.5-year-old opinions. Okay? And there are some serious issues that I've outlined above. They can be addressed if people have the will. There are ways to make this productive, and that's what I want. I'm talking about this to make it productive. I'm also talking about it because I want to move on. I've got things to do. I can't afford to have this bogged down the whole weekend and into next week. I've got some great gaming content to show you guys. So hopefully you'll accept this as my piece on this and where I stand. Hopefully you'll understand that I don't want to talk it to death because there are other cool things that I'm more excited about and are happier. So have a good weekend, and I'll try to put up some of the content for the weekend so you can see that too, because, oh my God, so many good games coming for Christmas. It's going to be awesome. And hopefully we can get back to that instead of this drama. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good weekend.